The Ducks wilt in the desert. Good to see everyone late Saturday night. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, right here following week 13. Waiting for some folks to jump on the line. I understand that I did not send a notification. Here's the deal. I am working late Saturday night. That's the issue. And therefore, we provided some instant analysis following Ohio State and Penn State earlier today. And then I had to basically check out on the rest of the day in college football and go to work. While there was work to be done here at the voice of college football, unfortunately, I had to work, and could not address college football's weekend here on a Saturday, week 13, for as much as I wanted to dive into Georgia, Texas A&M, Minnesota Northwestern, and all the big games across the country. As I saw some pretty good 3:30 games, I was able to watch the first half of the 3:30 games. I had to check out for the rest of the night and go to work. So I'm back from work, and I'm going to open it up to you on the phone lines at 860-325-3687 to enlighten me on your thoughts on week 13, and I will certainly give you mine as we run through the scores. I will remind you, of course, that this is the voice of college football, so please lock it in right here. And if you're joining us for the first time or have seen very little of what we do here at the voice of college football, check out the videos. We deliver college football analysis like nobody else. Best discussion, debate, and analysis right here. So check out the videos, and we think that we will win you over. Let's dive into week 13, then I'll get to the comments. LSU beat Arkansas 56-20. The Hogs looked pretty decent for the first few series of the game, and then they wilted. Joe Burrow with another huge game in this one, although I'm sure he did not play much of the second half. He threw for 327 yards on 23 of 28 and 3 touchdowns. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 168 yards on 6 carries and 3 touchdowns. Okay, the big game of the day, of course, was Ohio State and Penn State. Please check out my instant analysis on the Buckeyes win 28-17. It was a more dominant effort than the final score would indicate. There was a 3 or 4 minute flurry there in the third quarter in which Penn State got back in the ball game thanks to Ohio State gifts. Penn State did convert their first touchdown of the game after a 75-yard drive, so they put something together finally after the Buckeye defense dominated the first half, and they got on the board to make it 21-7. Then Ohio State gave them 2 gifts, and then the Buckeyes defense took over the game again. By all indications, Ohio State, I don't want to say completely dominated the game, but they controlled the game. They were the much better team, but again, they gave the ball away too many times. Well, it was not too many times because they still won 28-17. They gained control in the final 10 to 12 minutes of the game, and the final touchdown pass went from Justin Fields to Chris Olave. Very impressive receiver. Check out the Fields touchdown pass earlier in the game to KJ Hill. A dime. Buckeyes win it. J.K. Dobbins, a workhorse in this one with 36 carries in the rain to beat Penn State 28-17. So Ohio State has faced 3 of the top, at the time of kickoff, 3 of the top 5 rush defenses in the country and completely assaulted them on the ground. Georgia with a workmanlike effort at home against Texas A&M 19-13. The Bulldogs defense is for real. Is most definitely for real. DeAndre Swift ran for 103 yards on 19 carries. We'll see if Georgia is able to keep up with LSU in the SEC championship game, though. But the Bulldogs do avoid the 2 upset possibilities in November, besting both Texas A&M and Auburn by 1 score at home, 21-14 and 19-13. Alabama had a bye week, 66-3. Okay, the game of the night was, of course, Oregon going to Arizona State, and this is a game in which I should have pulled the trigger because I've been warning Pac-12 fans for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the past 2 weeks I have posted a video in which I set up the college football playoff scenarios in the Pac-12, and in both videos I said, look out for this one. This is the game that is most likely going to upset the cart for the Pac-12. Oregon going to the desert to take on Arizona State. Thinking back to Arizona State's win against Washington, depriving them of a college football playoff appearance in 2017, the Sun Devils, despite 4 consecutive losses and just a 500 record, do it again to a Pac-12 contender, beating Oregon 31-28. I did get a chance to see much of this game, and Justin Herbert threw some awful passes, made some terrible, critical decisions in this one. Jaden Daniels continues just to light it up. This kid is mighty impressive, and Arizona State has something going with him at quarterback on a 22 for 32 day, 408 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and of course, he's a threat on the ground as well. Eno Benjamin has had a disappointing season for the Sun Devils, but not on this night against Oregon. 31 carries, 114 yards. Johnny Johnson for Oregon had 207 yards receiving, as again, Justin Herbert put up big stats, but made some critical mistakes in this one. Oregon loses to Arizona State 31-28. The other end of the Pac-12 is upheld, though, as Utah goes to Arizona and wins easily 35-7. Another potential upset that I really was eyeing as well. I took TCU in the points, but I thought Oklahoma would salvage a win at home. That's how it turned out to be. Sooners win it against TCU 28-24. Minnesota 38, Northwestern 22. Wisconsin wins 45-24 over the Boilermakers, which sets up the Big Ten Western Division showdown on the final weekend with Minnesota hosting Wisconsin. That should be a great one. Gophers at 10-1, Badgers at 9-2. Michigan continues to play good football. They beat Indiana 39-14 after going down 14-7 early. Shea Patterson on a 20 for 32 day for 366 yards and 5 touchdown passes. The Wolverines are rolling. Second half performance against Penn State. They whipped up on the Irish 45-14, and now this game against a pretty good Indiana team that came in at 7-3, having only lost by 1 score in Happy Valley. Wolverines win it by 25. Baylor over Texas 24-10, so the Bears continue to set up their rematch with Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. Auburn rolls Samford 52-0, so the Iron Bowl is coming up. Notre Dame better than Boston College 40-7. Iowa in a slugfest against Illinois. The Hawkeyes face Nebraska in their annual rivalry game at 8-3 after besting Illinois 19-10. Memphis way too much for South Florida 49-10 as the Tigers continue to eye that New Year's 6 bowl appearance, as does Cincinnati barely getting by Temple 15-13. Boise State puts up 56 on Utah State 56-21. Noon Eastern Time game, Oklahoma State now looking at bedlam after a win at West Virginia 20-13, and the Cowboys are 8-3. Iowa State needed some late scoring to get by Kansas 41-31. In the Battle of Los Angeles, Clay Helton still has a job, and his USC Trojans put up record numbers through the air. Keaton Slovis set a USC passing record. Consider the quarterbacks that have gone through USC. Pat Hayden, Carson Palmer, John David Booty, Mark Sanchez, Vince Evans, Todd Marinovich, and on and on and on and on. And Keaton Slovis threw for 515 yards today against the Bruins, and USC wins at 52-35. App State a winner over Texas State 35-13. SMU loses at Navy 35-28. And those were the big games throughout the nation in regards to the top 25. I will tack on one other very important game. Virginia Tech. What a resurrection by Justin Fuente and the Hokies this year. Virginia Tech annihilates Pitt 28-0. That Virginia Tech defense that was the worst under Bud Foster's tenure for 30-some years last year and for the first part of this season has come back to now pitch a shutout against a Pitt passing attack that has been one of the top 10 yardage producers in the nation. Hokies win at 28-0 and set up a showdown with Virginia for the ACC Coastal Division Championship. So the winner of the game next Friday after Thanksgiving between Virginia and Virginia Tech sets up the Coastal Division winner and ACC championship game participant opposite Clemson. All right, I'm going to take some comments here and some calls as well. 860-325-3687. There's the phone line right there, 860-325-3687. I apologize for the lack of a notification, but because of my work schedule, it is nearly impossible to set a schedule at this point. That's going to be my hope and my goal during the off season is to supply you with a live stream schedule so you know when we're going to go live each and every day. All right, let's check out the comments. Brian, good to see you. It is good morning, technically. Murder Blaze, time for the late night show with Mark Rogers. There it is. And here we are. Cody Love. As a Miami fan, I knew we were mediocre, but this is not Cody mediocre. That is, yeah, what you put up there. There's all sorts of different emojis that could express Miami's performance today. I could think of a few better ones, but that one is certainly depicting, I'm sure, Cody, your thoughts on this night. I believe I will review that game in a separate video. Miami, I didn't even give this game a glance. Throughout the day, I watched football till about 5:30, then I had to go to work. I went to work and I periodically checked out the scores. And obviously, I work where I work, so there's screens all around me with monitors with highlights constantly. So I did keep track of the major action. Didn't even give consideration to Miami losing that game against FIU. And I know better than that. They lost to Georgia Tech this year, of all teams. And Miami is no great team, as we have found out repeatedly this season. They're mediocre at best. Their best effort this year, Miami's best moment, their shining moment this year was beating Virginia. That was their most important win, or could have been their most important win had they continued to notch W's. Their most impressive win was probably beating Louisville and putting up 52 points, even though the Cardinals are giving up points to everybody. Louisville having beaten Virginia and Wake Forest, the second and third best teams in the conference. That was an impressive win by Miami. So I'm going to give them credit for 2 decent wins this year. But then today, wow. Miami is a 20-point favorite, lost to FIU. Just the fact that Miami's only a 20-point favorite against FIU tells you something to start. Yes, Brian, embarrassing beyond belief. Cody, Georgia Tech loss was embarrassing, but losing to a Butch Davis-led FIU team in the Orange Bowl old location, yes, on the very land, on the very ground, on the very sod where the once famed Orange Bowl rested. The worst loss in the program's history. Jordan Callahan says, well, Florida State's better than who? Florida State's better than Miami. That's better than FIU. I think you reverse the signs, right? Anyway, we've got all the Florida teams represented by Jordan. I would have to say that the Gators are the best team in Florida, then probably Central Florida, then I don't know. South Florida's awful. And Florida State's an embarrassment, but probably not as much of an embarrassment as Miami. But Miami beat Florida State head-to-head by 17 points. Then you've got FIU. And after this showing, I don't even know what FIU's record is. I believe they were 6-5 against, of course, their schedule coming in. Where is that game? There it is. FIU is now 6-5. They beat Miami 30-24, and they were up in this game 23-3. All right, enough on that game. Brian, wish Penn State had won, hoping for a Michigan win this week. Brian, who do you root for? Would love to know. along with everybody else. Let me know who you root for. Peanut 3844, Abel, Enos, and Baker need to go now. Peanut 3844, Abel, Jordan, that is saying FSU is best. Yeah, I think we got that all reversed. Brian the Duck should have won. They did not. Cody, Baker has made our defense regress substantially in less than a year. Yeah, they gave up points and yardage to FIU today. Anthony Jones for FIU ran for 112 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown. Peanut 3844, Abel, Enos is a moron, not running the ball when it worked and instead was just stuck on the RPO when it wasn't working. Cody, as bad as it sounds, I kind of miss Mark Richt. He would have won 10 games with his schedule. You would think. Well, Peanut 3844, Abel, consider this, that Mark Richt, we know what he did at Georgia. He didn't win to Kirby Smart's level, but Kirby Smart's only been there for a few years. Let's see what Kirby Smart does over the course of 15 years, because at this point in Mark Richt's tenure at Georgia, it looked fairly similar. I know that he did not get to a national championship game, but it looked fairly similar record-wise, and with a quick SEC championship game and win under his belt at Georgia, Mark Richt's tenure at Georgia at this point versus Kirby Smart looked pretty similar. And Mark Richt, again, did not win the big games and did not win championships at Georgia. I believe 3 SEC championships, but he finished in the top 10 8 out of 15 years. He consistently won there. Now in Miami, he took over a pretty mediocre program and he instantly went 9-4, finished in the top 25, turned in the 10-3 season, and then had the 8th best recruiting class that next offseason that we all thought was going to set him up for big winning. And then they plummeted. He gave too much, as Cody will state here in the comment that I'm about to post, too much loyalty to his son. You can be loyal you should be loyal to the hilt to your family. That doesn't mean you give them jobs that they don't deserve, have not earned, and are not capable of executing. That's the problem. Peanut 3844, Abel, Williams isn't the answer either. Folds under pressure and his IQ is too low. Of course, we want to check our spelling when we're cutting on other people's IQs. We may want to do that in our sentence structure. But at the same time, Jaron Williams is just a freshman. So I'm not sold on him one way or the other. I think the jury is still out. Pinero 5, Piru, go blue. It's the game this week. Salute Mark, go blue. We will have coverage all over the place on the game. Ohio State at Michigan. Cody. Yes, his loyalty to his son got him fired. Mark, what do you think of Jamal Adams? What do I think of Jamal Adams? My thoughts on Jamal Adams, I don't have any specific thoughts. Do we want to continue the questioning with anything in particular there? If anything in particular happened today concerning Jamal Adams, I'm not aware because I've been out of the loop for the most part since about 5 o'clock today. We've got to go Bucks. We've got a Michigan beat Ohio. Who's got it better than us? Brian comes back. Duke will beat us next week also, sorry to say. Miami at 6-5. And I thought I was all set up to predict Miami's record correctly this season. I picked them to go 8-4 and got bashed by Miami fans that said 10-2 was going to be a cakewalk. And here they are at 6-4 with FIU and Duke lined up, and they couldn't complete the season. A dog named Brutus. Justin Herbert, what happened there? He made a lot of bad decisions tonight. He just did not look sharp, did not look ready to play, just confused by the defense, I guess, because they were some bad passes, but they were mostly bad decisions, poor decisions in the second half. I will, of course, remind everyone that they've checked in with the voice of college football, Mark Rogers TV. Please like the videos, comment, share the videos, and subscribe. And there's your call-in number at 860-325-3687. I'm taking calls right now. Christmas is coming, folks. And you can help us build the channel, contribute by shopping at Amazon. Just use the link in the description section of any of the videos. Go to any of the videos, excluding this one right now, because the information in the description section has not been populated. But in any of the videos, go to the link in the description section that says Amazon. Use that link to do your shopping. It's the same exact shopping experience. Somebody told me today, when I mentioned to one of my friends today, I can't figure out a way that I can get people to shop on Amazon using that link. Because as I understand it, this Amazon outfit is pretty popular. And I'm trying to get people to shop on this link because it's the same shopping experience. It doesn't cost you an extra dime. And I'm like, how do I get people to do that? And my buddy told me that he heard recently that 64% of American households belong to Amazon Prime. 64% of American households. So please do your Christmas shopping or any shopping that you do using the Amazon link that we provide in the description sections. And of course, our predictions were stellar today. I hope you are getting our predictions at the Voice of College Football community. Pick up our predictions on Patreon. We were 11-6 against the spread today. 11-6. So if you know anything about predicting against the spread and what the Vegas payout is, you know that that's stellar. Back to the comments. Where are we? Tennessee, Texas, and Miami, all 6-5. Which one has a chance to turn it around? Texas 1. Tennessee 2, although they play in the much better conference, so it makes it more difficult of a task to do it against the SEC than it should Miami in the ACC. But I say Tennessee 2, Miami 3. David, Mark, what do you think of Patterson and the team up north's offense? The Buckeyes will be concerned. I think that this is the best offense that Ohio State will face this year before the playoffs. I think that the differences between Penn State's offense and Michigan's, although Penn State from an athletic standpoint can match Michigan on offense, and they both have a better offense overall than Wisconsin, not by a whole lot. They're in the same ballpark. I would go Michigan 1, Penn State 2, Wisconsin 3. Is that Shea Patterson's a better quarterback, flat out, and then Sean Clifford. Sean Clifford is still showing growing pains. And I know that Shea Patterson was doing the same types of things, not protecting the football 6 weeks ago, but he is recently and against good defenses like Penn State in the second half, Indiana, Notre Dame. Good defenses, not exceptional defenses. So I think Shea Patterson's the best of those three teams. And that the playmakers on the outside for Michigan are, as a group, collectively, much better than Penn State. After KJ Hamler, there is a drop-off to the rest of those guys. Shorter and Dodson and George have all been disappointing this season for the most part. They're dropping passes. They're not making the kind of catches that you need to against tight coverage. So Nico Collins and that group, Tariq Black, I know he's not playing much and not contributing much, but Nico Collins and company, my man Ronnie Bell has really been a guy that's been the most productive overall. And of course, Donovan Peoples-Jones, the wide receivers for Michigan are second to Ohio State, right there with Minnesota as second best in the Big Ten. And so Michigan has much better wide receiver play than Penn State. If you look at the recruiting rankings and where these kids were recruited and signed, there's not much difference. But the Michigan wide receiver core is better than Penn State's. The offensive line is better than Penn State's. Not by a ton, but it's better than Penn State's. Penn State has better running backs than Michigan, but Penn State's got them at quarterback, wide receiver, and at offensive line. Now, of course, Penn State's got Pat Freiermuth at tight end, who I think is going to be a really good pro. All right, where are we? David, the team up north will have to deal with a predator. Yes, they will. I don't know what that's about. David wants to see me in the Art Schlichter jersey this week. David, the super chat's available. I will not guarantee anything. Matt, good to see you. Go Buckeyes. Yes, please hit the like button. That helps out considerably. So I have been trying to, and this is going to be an off-season project, I've been trying to educate myself more and more on the YouTube model and what is going to generate subscribers and views. And it's about getting into the suggested videos column. So you guys are watching YouTube right now. You see on the right side of the screen the suggested videos. And the way to build a channel and have it explode and get your videos watched by masses of people, not by 500 people, but by 50,000 people, is to get your videos listed in the suggested videos section. And one way you can help me do that is to get people to watch the videos and also to like and comment to the videos. So please like the videos, comment to the videos, and get those things out there on social media or to whomever you know likes college football. So Panero 5, Piro, thank you so much. Ready for the game. It is officially, if you're a Michigan fan, Ohio State week. And if you're a Buckeyes fan, it's officially Michigan week. Or as many Ohio State fans would say it, Michigan week. As soon as the previous game is over, that Saturday, it then becomes Michigan week or Ohio State week. Christopher, good to see you. I've not seen your handle before. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please let us know who you root for and how long you've been watching. Bill, I've seen you comment in recent weeks. I thank you so much for encouraging others to hit the like button and to support the channel. Bill, I would love to know who you root for and how long you've been watching, because it's only been for the past couple of weeks that I've noticed you joining our live streams. Thank you, Bill, for the reference from the 60s. Mark, what do you think is the Canes' biggest issue from what you've seen? Okay, this is what I've seen. I saw the entire Florida game. I saw the condensed version of the North Carolina game. I like to review what I've seen. I saw the condensed version of the Virginia Tech game. I saw the condensed version of the Georgia Tech game. I saw, that was pretty much it. So I've seen about 5 games. I did not see one play of today's game. There was no question that coming into the season, the weakest unit on the team, both offensively and defensively, was the offensive line. But the offensive line, according to Cam, and based on what I've seen, has improved greatly. The greatest regression, as somebody mentioned in the live chat, has been defensively. This defense, especially against the opponents that they face week to week, should be dominant. Now, is this defense elite? No. It was not elite when the season started. So Miami fans who thought they had an elite defense based on last season's statistics and some projections, maybe the numbers, there was a chance that the numbers would make it look elite against the likes of all the bad offenses that they play, that they really only played a really good offense in Louisville, and they played a good game there. They played capable future NFL players in Florida, but not an elite offense, if you follow me there. The Florida Gators will produce NFL players off of that offense, probably more than any other team that Miami will play this year, but it is not a great offense at Florida. The Virginia offense, pedestrian. So really, the Miami defense has not played a really, really good offense. They didn't play Clemson, of course. They did not play the likes of LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, did not have to face that kind of offense. Even Oregon or Utah or Oklahoma State, or an offense that could beat you up like Wisconsin, or even a Michigan offense, or take your pick in the SEC, even though Georgia's not explosive. They've got explosive players, but they don't play a style of offense that allows them to be explosive. Miami's not faced that kind of offense. The best players that Miami has faced on offense was in week 1 against Florida. The best offense they played in regards to putting together the scheme and putting up points was probably either Louisville or Florida. So Miami's not faced a good offense. So the defense is really not. They're good. I would say that Miami's got a top 30 defense in the country, but we expected it to be better. So the defense has taken advantage of poor offensive lines and at times puts on a pass rush that makes it look elite. And of course, Greg Russo has played out of his mind this year. So I would say number 1 has been offensive line, and number 2 has been quarterback play. And then number 3 has been that the defense has not been nearly as good as we thought, and the defensive backfield is marginal. There you go. A dog named Brutus, Penn State wide receivers, route running, and ball handling needs work. Yes, we talked about that. Dante, Mark Rogers, what do you think of Manny Diaz? I'll go back to my ACC coaches rankings prior to the season. I rated Manny Diaz as the worst coach in the ACC and Willie Taggart as the second worst coach in the ACC. And we saw what Florida State gave us, and we saw what happened to Willie Taggart. Regardless of whether you want to bring other factors into it, the situation, Willie Taggart, his 21-game tenure at Florida State was a disaster, and Manny Diaz tenure at Miami to date has been disappointing, to say the least. It's been a grade D. A grade D. Not necessarily fireable. I would not fire Manny Diaz based on the performance on the field because I don't believe, unless there's some kind of off-the-field issue or the play is just so incredibly poor. And this could have been said about Florida State last year, that I would not fire a coach after one season. He would have to be doing something that is embarrassing the program from a character standpoint, most likely to get fired under my watch if I made the call. But I would put Manny Diaz on notice next year that, Manny, you've got top 25 roster talent. You've now had a full off-season cycle to implement your terminology, your culture, for the coaches to build relationships with the various positional units. And you've been here before, so it's not like other situations in which the coach is coming in from, in Willie Taggart's situation, Oregon, all the way to Florida State, and he doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know of course, he knows the recruiting footprint since he was a Florida guy, But Manny Diaz has been in the system. The players know him. He basically just implemented his own system that was, I'm sure, very similar to what they already knew, especially on defense. So he had the head start that other first-year coaches don't have, and they are still decidedly underachieving against a bad schedule. So that's what I think of him. I think he's underachieving, grossly underachieving. This team, with their talent, they've only played one team with better talent, Florida. They've played one other team with like talent, Florida State. They have found a way to lose to Georgia Tech, FIU, and some other teams that should not be competing with them. This team against that schedule should go 9-3 or 10-2. They are about to go 7-5 or 6-6. And again, Manny Diaz had some advantages that other first-year coaches do not have in knowing the program and being comfortable with the facilities and the environment and the players and having knowledge, full knowledge of all of that. Bill, I'm so glad the Buckeyes had their hiccup game against Penn State, which means they'll be ready for Michigan next Saturday. All right, we've got Dog Named Brutus, started watching mid last year. I've liked and subscribed. Thank you, man. Cody, I'm honestly wondering how we would have done, could have. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about Mark Richt, I'm honestly wondering how he would have done. Bill, I've been watching you since early season last year. Good to know. Mark, do you think we have a chance to make the Rose Bowl when we beat Ohio? Well, beat Ohio first. The Bobcats would love to schedule you. I'm sure it would bring some attention to the program. Frank Solich and company, dodge no one. But if you're going to beat Ohio State next week, yes, you have a chance to go to the Rose Bowl at 10-2. With a win over Ohio State, you're going to be the highest ranked Big Ten team. Well, the voters, whether that be the College Football Playoff Selection Committee or the AP voters, will have a difficult time differentiating between the Penn State. Well, they're going to beat Rutgers next week. Michigan, if they beat Ohio State, Penn State, and the winner of the Wisconsin-Minnesota game at 11-1 or 10-2, they'll all be right bunched up in the bottom of the top 10. So, yes, the Rose Bowl would love to have Michigan, over any of those teams. A Dog Named Brutus, concur neither have been acceptable coaches in the ACC. Bill heard rumors that Luke Fickell will go to Florida State. I don't have any thoughts about that. I think that would be a good hire for Florida State, but I don't have any specific thoughts on whether there is any substance to those rumors. I don't know. But Luke Fickell's a good head coach. Luke Fickell coached under Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer, and it shows. Brian, Manny didn't even look like he wanted to be there in the game. We got Jeff Lynn's ELO 2020 tour. That's difficult for me to say for some reason, especially at 2:30 in the morning. Jeff Lynn's ELO 2020 tour. Fake James need to be fired by. Okay, Manny Diaz is a fraud. Mario Cristobal, the only way to be relevant one day is to hire Mario Cristobal and have the billionaire boosters pay for his buyout. And I'm apparently making some good points. Jeff, I appreciate the comments, the encouragement, and also everything that you do in following us here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Christopher found my channel a few weeks ago into the season, and I'm a Gopher, rest of the Big Ten fan when it comes to anything with interconference play. Love the channel. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it, Christopher. It's good to see you. That Oregon-Arizona State game was brutal. If you love the Pac-12 and Oregon, yes, brutal. Clemson all the way, at least they can make the ACC look a little better, if at all possible, if they win out. Yeah, the ACC, it's all about Clemson. It's just Clemson and nobody else. That is the conference right now, and there just doesn't seem to be any possibility of that changing anytime soon. Wake Forest and Virginia are probably the two best examples of schools that are not completely maxing out their potential, but they're close. They're playing about as well, and that program with Dave Clawson and with Bronco Mendenhall, whom I am very impressed with both of those coaches for various reasons. And if you'd like to see my breakdown of ACC coaches, it's probably changed very little from what I thought of those coaches preseason based on what's happened this season. You can go to my channel front page and go in the search bar and probably find just about any subject on any video, whether it's Ohio State or Michigan or Clemson or ACC coaches rankings. Put that in. I had a good time breaking down the ACC coaches, as I did the other Power 5 leagues as well. Dante, thanks for clarifying this to your chat and the world. Dante, if only the world was watching, this would be a much better deal right here, because I could do this full time if the world was watching. Just like I was thinking the other day, I've got 16,000 subscribers. If they all gave me $1 a month, wow. Once we make this full time, you guys can just not imagine the content in the live streams. I'd be doing live streams all the time. So one more time, if anybody wants to call me and talk college football, I'll be on the line for a few more minutes at 860-325-3687. That's 860-325-3687. And if you're curious, that's not my number. So you're not going to have my number. And also keep in mind, I've got a buffer number. I do this through a professional phone service, so I don't see your number either. So I don't get your number. When it rings, I see 860-325-3687. So that's what it's calling. It's calling a number in between. So that looks like it's my number, but it's not. And to me, I don't see your number. I see that number as well. 860-325-3687. And of course, again, if I can get anything across outside of college football in regards to promotion here, I want to get this across. Please shop at Amazon. Use the link in the description section of any of the videos, and it's the same exact shopping experience. And if you don't do the shopping at home, get it to your significant other. Get it to your wife, your girlfriend, whoever she is. Get her the link and say, baby, please use this link. You're going to make my life so much better, because Mark's going to be able to go full time, and we're going to have so much college football talk. It's going to be heaven. Okay. And of course, the super chat is on as well. Iron Cross, longtime Michigan fan and viewer and supporter of the channel here. Thank you so much. To have 48 on the line at 3:17 in the morning is not bad. It is not bad. And what I need to do very soon here is plug in, or we're going to lose some power. Murder Blaze 9. Wouldn't Minnesota have a pretty good call for the Rose Bowl, assuming they win out and lose to us in the Big Ten championship game? Yes, they would. But the Rose Bowl committee still has some leeway to take whomever they want within certain parameters, and I don't have those in front of me. Cody, I talk college football here. Am I tired of talking about how mediocre Miami is? Yes. Would it do my channel good if Miami was better? Probably. D. Play calling needs to get better. Justin Fields needs to get the ball out quickly and establish the tight ends and H-backs. Didn't like the play calling today. Well, it was pretty obvious that at some point in the game, Ryan Day was very comfortable with his defense, and with the weather being what it was, he went conservative. But they put the dagger in with that final touchdown pass, so they went for the jugular on the one play to Olave in the corner, in which he made a great catch. And the Buckeyes did what they had to do in the last 10 minutes of the game. This is exceptional. The statement that Newbie Doobie is making right here, just again, I don't expect any of you to give financially. I really don't. There's other ways in which I can build this out and make money through various revenue streams. But just think about it. So today was a huge college football day, and I had to leave to go to work at 5:30. Therefore, I could not cover. If you check out the channel and know what I typically do on a college football Saturday, is I just crank out instant analysis and live streams. But I could not do that today because I was working from 5:30 until about 2:30 in the morning. So for 9 hours, I was out of the college football loop and could not cover the game we love the way I would like or the way that you deserve. Newbie Doobie, guys like him, Newbie Doobie, I appreciate this so much more than you will ever know, because what you're telling me is that you believe in the vision and you're catching the vision. The vision is to build out the best college football channel imaginable. And really, to do that, I need two things. I need time more than anything. I have 50 hours a week invested somewhere else. If I had that time, and many of you comment that I produce and post more video content than anybody that does college football, and I think that to be true. Even my man Uncle Lou says that all the time, and he does it. Uncle Lou's amazing. I love Uncle Lou. We do it differently, but we both appreciate each other's channels. But Uncle Lou even says on a regular basis, man, that Mark, he produces more college football content than anybody I've seen. And I don't have 50 hours a week. 50 hours a week I devote somewhere else. So Newbie Doobie, you're catching the vision. Right now, we just passed 16,000 subscribers. And with the other sub-channels I have with USC, Miami, and Ohio State, we've got about 20,000 subscribers. But the ones that really count, and I don't want to disparage the other channels, but the ones that really count are right here, because this one is monetized. This channel is monetized. And therefore, YouTube is paying me a little bit of money. But you can imagine it's not anywhere close to what it needs to be to make this work. So I'm going to post a video because I am asked on almost a daily basis, Mark, what can we do to contribute to help? And there's a ton of ways, and some of them don't involve money. So Newbie Doobie, thank you so much. Bill, I'm going to post your comment as well. Thank you so much for the contribution as well. Oh, no need that. I agree with your synopsis, Mark, about Ohio State's game plan today. Thank you, sir. Bill, thank you. You commented earlier in the chat how long you've been watching. I think it was since late last season or sometime last season. Thank you so much for the contribution. And it's just, I'm guessing that you guys aren't going to miss that, but I want to say that the right way. Because anything that comes out of your pocket is substantial. So I don't want to frame that the right way. What I'm basically saying is that for a lot of people, they wouldn't miss a contribution to me. It's still an amazing gesture, and some people just don't have anything to give. And you know what? I still want you to watch and take part. We can all do our part a different way. So, Bill, thank you so much. You got some cute kids there, Bill. There's no question about that. Murder Blaze. We're preaching, newbie doobie. Preaching, preaching, preaching. Oh, we've got a call coming in. So before I take this call, I want to point something out here. So taking calls on my cell phone and holding it up to the mic is not the way to do this. So hang on just a second, caller. So I purchased some equipment. There's more to it than this. About 2 months ago, and I tried to hook this up. This also came with it. I'll try to do this without like messing everything up. See this, and we're going to do it the right way eventually, but I hooked it all up and it's just not working. So that's going to be another off-season project to take the calls the right way, the professional way that works. So anyway, I appreciate that you guys hang with me and still call in. All right, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Mark, what happened to Oregon? What happened? I didn't even see it. I can't believe they lost.
Why can't you believe they lost? Did you listen to any of my Pac-12 college football scenarios the last couple of weeks? I basically hinted they're going to lose that game.
Nobody did the Pac-12. What did you say, Mark?
I said that I've been hinting for the last few weeks that that's the game to circle, that was going to be the one.
Oh, okay. I should have listened then. I can't believe that they I can't believe they lost. Cause I've seen Arizona play. They ain't have much of an offense, but I guess I hear people talking about their quarterback though.
Jaden Daniels.
Looks like he went off.
He went off. Yes, he's a good player. Look out for him. He's just a freshman.
Wow.
Just a freshman.
That's interesting, man. Boy, I don't care about Texas A&M, but they got holes today, though. I don't know what that ref was looking at. I said you saw the receiver grab Texas A&M DB face mask on the touchdown pass, and then you had 3 missed calls on where the defensive back for Georgia was grabbing the receiver's shirt and stuff like that. It was heavily pass interference on all 4 of them plays, man.
Okay, I only saw the first
play calling didn't help either.
I only saw the first half. When did that happen?
The Georgia wide receiver grabbed the face mask of the DB of Texas A&M and pulled him down to the ground and caught the touchdown pass. He was number 1 for Georgia. And then you had 1 missed call on number 85, where they grabbed his they were grabbing his shirt and on a pass play. While the ball was being thrown, or before the ball was being thrown, one of them. And then they had another one. I can't remember what that one was on. But they had at least 2 or 3 of them that they missed. The refs could have did a better job. But Jimbo play calling didn't help that either. I don't see how you go for it on 4th and 1, and you go to 4th and inches at that, and then you go from a shotgun formation, and that's how you try to score your try to get the first down. I think Jimbo did a poor job of play calling.
Did they run the ball?
Yeah, they ran the ball, but they did it from 7 yards in the back.
Well, that's what's wrong with some of these teams now, is they don't know how to take the ball on a direct snap. And that I don't know why. If I ran an offense, regardless of what, if I was the head coach, regardless of what offense I ran, if I ran the spread and the RPOs like everybody else, I would still spend a couple minutes in practice every day taking snaps from center to run quarterback sneaks and fullback dives for short yardage situations.
What? And the play on third down, they ran it from under center. And then it went back for the I just didn't get it. But that's a lot of people say, well, Willie Taggart was a poor coach. Maybe Jimbo just don't have it no more, and that's why he recruited some of the players he did. I mean, I just seen that was some poor play calling that they did. I don't know. That was terrible. But what about Florida International and Miami?
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Fans are hot.
That's awful. With Miami's schedule to be 6-5 right now, if Miami had to go play in the SEC or the Big Ten, I don't know what their record would be. They had a schedule set up. They had a schedule. No. They're the way Miami's playing this year. If they went and played Wisconsin and Minnesota and even Illinois, I'll take Illinois over Miami tomorrow if they're going to play. And Iowa, though, Miami's they wouldn't finish higher than 5th place in the Big Ten West. The way they're playing, the way they played this entire season, they've played a couple decent games. They played Florida tough. They took care of Louisville. They beat Virginia. Other than that, they've looked like trash.
And they got Pitt too, 15-12.
Maybe Pitt. Oh, well, Pitt just lost to Virginia Tech 28-0. How good is Pitt?
But you know what? And I listen to everybody's shows, and all y'all do an excellent job. But I was listening to Coach Coop, and some of them were saying that Clemson was lucky that they don't have to play Miami in the ACC championship game. This is before they lost.
What?
And they was also talking about, yeah.
Oh my word!
I don't know what it was. That was after the Florida State Louisville game.
Oh my goodness.
And then, the talk was because of Miami record, because, they all were saying that they were going to beat Florida International. And they were saying that, they had a shot at the Orange Bowl still if Clemson won out and went to the playoffs. And I was like, man, I said, y'all putting the cart for the horse, because y'all look terrible. And I still don't think, I'm not saying they lose to Duke. Why they Duke gonna give them a run for their money next week?
Well, DeAndre, consider this. There were bold projections before this game today that Miami, if they won their last 2 games, as they would be a big favorite, and they certainly were today, would finish 8-4, and that the Orange Bowl could bypass the ACC Coastal Division winner to grab Miami. And think about this. Think about if Ohio State lost to Michigan or Alabama was left out of the playoffs, as they most likely will be. There are scenarios in which there were projections that Miami would have played either Ohio State or Alabama in the Orange Bowl and would have gotten completely trucked.
You're right. And they were talking about, we want the best out of SEC. I was like, dude, y'all been struggling. Y'all barely beat Pitt and Virginia, and their offenses both of their offenses is just terrible. I saw them in the beginning of the year. I don't know how Pickney got the job as a starting quarterback, but I was just like, y'all Miami fans are crazy. You got the level. They hoping to get back to 2001, and outside of Alabama and Ohio State, those are the ones that you see mainly on TV right now on YouTube. And when they got on that 2-game winning streak, beat Louisville and Florida State, they were like, "We're back," and I'm like, "Yo, I mean, y'all just beat 2 teams that are." and rebuilding just like y'all are. One just lost their head coach. The other guy just got there, and that coach at Louisville, him and Matt Brown should be
Yes, I totally agree.
Head coaches of the year.
Totally agree.
I mean, yeah, matter of fact, I did see your show where you talked about it, and I don't know if I know you don't have time to do it, but I talked about why Clemson struggled in the '90s. If you looked at when Carolina was good, they kept a lot of their talent in the state of North Carolina. If you look at Clemson was good, I know Clemson got a lot of players from Florida and the Bowden, but in that 81 to 77 year when Clemson was really, really good, a lot of their players came from North Carolina. And if you look at the 70s, outside of year 77, Carolina was the most dominant team in the ACC. Carolina, Maryland, and I think NC State might have won one year. Clemson wasn't that good back then. I mean, Carolina kept their talent at home and got them out of Virginia. And that's something that Clemson fans got to look at. I mean, I know Clemson is such a big brand, but that's why they brought Matt Brown back, is to get that talent back into North Carolina. Dave Doran was kind of doing it, but it didn't manifest into anything. And Carolina's a way bigger brand than NC State because of Michael Jordan and the jump man. So I would look out for Carolina the next couple of years. And I think that guy from Louisville could do a good job because he's just such a hell of a coach. I mean, so I would watch out for those two teams, like you said, over the next 2 years. And I honestly believe that I don't know who's going to be the coach down at Florida State, but I think Florida State is eventually going to get it right down there in Miami also. So those 4 schools, I'll be looking for them to challenge Clemson next year.
Next
I know
year?
about Boston College, but
next year? They're going to challenge Clemson next year?
I said challenge. Like, I'm not going to say they're going to beat Clemson. I said challenge. I'm not saying they're going to win or nothing, but I think they're going to be better.
They're going to challenge by getting within 40 points? I think it's going to take a few years.
I mean,
it's going to take even if Florida State gets an exceptional coach, I think they've got a couple years of work to do before they can seriously challenge Clemson.
Well, let me ask you this, Mark. I don't really follow Florida State recruiting. The offensive line is the main problem for Florida State and Miami. You get a couple of them guys in there or keep it consistent. They still have the athletes to turn it around, and Clemson got to go to Florida State next year. I know Clemson recruiting is off the chain the last 2 years, but I mean, sometimes it just pops up. I mean, look at Minnesota. They came out of, I'm not going to say they came out of nowhere, but I mean, they've been building up to something, but like you said, you really haven't seen Florida State build up to anything, so it's kind of hard to keep my argument going, but I mean, Virginia Tech looks good. I mean, Carolina looks good for the next couple of years. So, I mean, I like a couple of teams in the ACC to be better than it was last year.
At the point that Clemson overtook Florida State as the best team in the ACC between, 2014, 15, 16, when that transition was taking place, that was the biggest problem for Florida State, was they still could match up with Clemson athletically, still had great talent on both sides of the ball, but the offensive line was atrocious. And that was the big difference between the two teams. Now we've gotten to a point where the offensive line is still awful at Florida State, but now they don't have playmakers and game changers and disruptors along the defensive front. They don't have edge rushers like they've had in the past. They don't have a linebacking core that's nearly as good. They've probably got the worst linebacking core that they've had in recent memory. They've got good wide receivers. They don't have tremendous. This Tamorian Terrian, though, I like him. He's a good player. And they don't have the quarterback play that they've had in the past. So I think that they've leveled off in a number of areas, but it started with the offensive line.
Right. And I think Cam Akers is gone. There's another guy back there that's pretty good, but we'll see. I mean, they got to hit right. The intramural head coach, he's been there for 26 years. Maybe they just need to give the guy a shot, just like Clemson gave Dabo a shot, and see what he can do. But I mean, I'm not hearing who they're gonna go out there and hire, but I think they should give that guy a shot. I mean, always going with a big name don't always work out. I mean,
True.
Because one reason why I heard Stoops step down is because he didn't enjoy coaching, not coaching, but the recruiting part of it. He didn't want to recruit anymore. So if the guy doesn't want to recruit anymore, I don't understand why would you go to him.
And that's one of Mark Richt's problems too.
Yeah, and some of these guys you get burnt out. I gotta shake. I don't know how Nick Saban doesn't get burnt out, but
recruiting's a grind.
I mean, yeah. And they, you got to keep them. I like. When does recruiting end this year? December 5th still.
The first national signing day is on December 18th.
Yeah, I mean, keeping them guys together. I mean, like I see Flo, he going everywhere, and I know Clemson was like, I know Dabo was like, Dad, I gotta prepare for this, and the ACC championship game, get ready for that other game. It's like I gotta find out what Justin Flo flying to, who beat the kid out of Maryland's talking to, or but. Well, Mark, you have a good night. I'll be listening to the show. I'm going to the house and hopefully get some sleep and catch up to see what happened with Arizona State and Oregon.
Yeah, sleep sounds like a good idea, DeAndre. I appreciate you jumping on board, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Bro.
All right. I think we will shut it down right here. I appreciate all the contributions from everyone, both to the live chat and the super chat as well. I'll check out the rest of the comments that I have yet to get to. Anything in particular here? Iron Cross is letting us know that LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, and Alabama will either go to the college football playoff or they're just his top 4 teams. Bill, Clemson also haven't lost any of their assistants since they started their run. Excellent point. And there we go. All right, everyone. You can look forward to tomorrow, my release of the top 25. That actually makes sense. And then, of course, we're going to wrap up the college football weekend. We'll see what runs through my brain between now and tomorrow afternoon in regards to recapping this weekend and starting to get you set for rivalry week. You can be sure that the only thing that's going to get in my way is it's difficult to bring in guests during the Thanksgiving holiday. So once we hit Thursday, it's difficult to get that done. My daughter's going to be home from college, but I will crank out as many previews as I possibly can. Ohio State, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, South Carolina, and on and on and on and on and on. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Oregon State, and all the big games. Utah's playing Colorado. That's not a big game, but of course, Utah needs to win to go to the Pac-12 championship game and keep the college football playoff hopes alive. They will be in the Pac-12 championship game, of course. All right. Everyone, good night. Thank you so much for joining. We will see you very soon. And yes, we need a big preview for the game. We will get that to you. There is no doubt about that, Bill. See you later. Top 25 that actually makes sense is only hours away.